GB News reporter Jeff Moody joining us now from Llandaff Cathedral in Cardiff. And maybe a celebration there, Jeff, in the fact they have a new Prince and Princess of Wales.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be people have been arriving here throughout the day, leaving flowers here. But tomorrow is the main event. Today, all eyes on London. Tomorrow, it's the turn of the nations. There's going to be a proclamation ceremony at Cardiff Castle at midday tomorrow, also in Scotland and Northern Ireland too. Here in Wales, there'll be a procession to start with at 11:25 tomorrow morning. 26 men from the 3rd Battalion of the Royal Welsh, supported by the band of the Royal Welsh. They will march from City Hall at 11:25 up to the castle, and then the ceremony itself will take place in the presence of the First Minister of Wales, Mark Drakeford, and the Mayor of Cardiff, and members of the public too. The gates of the castle open at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and people can come along, although it is a case of first come, first served, because they can only fit 2,000. Condolence books have been opened at the Senedd in Cardiff Bay as well. Huge respect in Wales for the Queen, and that respect was crystallised on the 26th of October 1966, when 116 children and 28 adults were killed in the small mining town of Aberfan, when a coal slag heap slipped down onto the local primary school and killed the children in that school. The Queen initially stayed away, but very soon, a few days after the tragedy, she came down to Aberfan, and she was photographed coming out of somebody's house, the house of somebody who had lost their children in the disaster, and she wiped away, very famously, she wiped away a tear. And this was one of the first examples of the monarchy almost reinventing itself as an empathetic, a caring monarchy. Before then, when you go back to the Second World War and the First World War, the king, the monarch's role was to inspect the troops, and it was the Queen Consort, most famously Queen Mary, who in the First World War, would visit the hospitals. But that wasn't the role of the monarch itself. It was after that Aberfan tragedy and the way the Queen responded to that the monarchy really began to change. And since then, we've often seen, monarchs visiting hospitals, talking to the sick. Most famously, of course, by Princess Diana. And as you say, people here not just getting used to a new king, but getting used to a new Prince and Princess of Wales. I mean, that term, Princess of Wales, still a quarter of a century later, very emotionally charged. People here still remembering a few short days after the royal wedding in 1981, the Prince and Princess of Wales came down here, and the Princess made a very famous speech in Welsh, which was received extremely well. And Charles himself, the King himself, as Prince of Wales, was very, very active in the communities here and in the people of Wales. Very, very interested. He was very famously went to university here for a very short period of time to learn more about Wales and the people of Wales. And very interesting that in his speech, his excellent, exceptionally good speech yesterday, he spoke a little bit in Welsh, which always plays very well indeed. So yes, people here in Wales getting used to a new king and also a new Prince and Princess of Wales.